Good morning, everybody. I am Tom Hadfield. I'm a product manager with Audatex. Thank you for joining us for this webinar about our image capture product. The webinar is going to include an interview with Richard Steer, who you should now see on screen. He's CEO of Steer Automotive, and it will also include a demonstration of our image capture product by my colleague, Stephen Hames. When Stephen's done the demonstration, we'll then move into a question and answer session, which we'll be able to answer any questions that you've asked through the Q&A function that you'll see at the bottom of your Zoom browser. Now, hopefully you've all been able to take advantage of our industry support offer of free of charge use of the image capture product that ran from the start of May this year right through to the end of September. And we're delighted to report that a number of motor manufacturers are continuing to provide support to their approved repair networks on their own brand repair vehicles throughout right through to the end of 2020. That's Peugeot, Citroën, DS, Vauxhall, Toyota and Lexus will be subsidising your image capture usage on their brand vehicles right through to the end of December this year. We've seen some incredible take-up of the product over the campaign with in excess of 50,000 requests sent out by repairers. And we are now at in excess of 1/3 images received back from customers through the image capture product, just over that 5-month period, which is a phenomenal take-up. We are seeing over 7.5 out of every 10 requests that are sent out completed with images attached and sent back by the customers. And over 80% of those responses come back within a 24-hour time frame. And we're getting an average of 9.5 images per response sent back from every customer, high quality images coming back straight into your Auda Enterprise Gold system. I'd like to now introduce Richard, who is CEO of Steer Automotive Group, runs 9 sites in the Midlands and Central England, and is one of the largest users of the image capture product. Good morning, Richard. How are you?
Good morning, Tom. Morning, folks. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Excellent. I know I did a little introduction to the group, but would you like to tell us a little more about Steer Group?
Yes, Steer Group was formed a couple of years ago out of an acquisition that I made from a business called Baldwin's Repair Group, and then I've subsequently gone on to buy 3 or 4 more other businesses and opened a new site as well. And we're now
just lost Richard's video. Richard, can you hear us?
Can indeed, yeah. So yeah, just 9 sites, about 200 people, and about 15,000 repairs a year, Tom.
Okay, excellent. And how's business right now? I know it's been a really tough period for everybody.
Yeah, we're doing actually okay. We kind of resized in August based on what we expected the volumes to look like towards the latter part of the year. In fairness, we're ahead of where we expected to be, and it's ebbing and flowing. You know, it's difficult to predict exactly where it's going to be. It sort of peaked a couple of weeks ago. Weather was obviously fairly bad, and that prompted quite a lot of accidents and collisions. And then it's subsequently got back down a little bit again, but nothing that we're too concerned about. We're obviously looking overall, obviously, what's going to happen in regards to the next couple of weeks with the lockdown, with obviously half term coming, and then obviously what's traditionally is quite a busy time for the industry with the clocks going back and the weather potentially changing as well. So it's that kind of fluid state at the minute, which is kind of no different to what it's been for the last 6 or 7 months, and we've pretty much mirrored what most of the industry has been doing as well.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Now, turning to the image capture product, we saw some really impressive stats overall on the previous slide, but I've been following it closely internally, and you guys have been one of the main users of the product over the COVID period, with more than 3,000 requests sent out. Could you tell us a little more about why you ask customers for images, what methods you've tried in the past, and why you've settled on the Audatex Bodyshop Image Capture product?
Well, one of the first things I did when I came into the sort of being a Bodyshop owner was look at the journey and the process and how we operate, and immediately we identified some inefficiencies in that chain. So we've been a user now of image capture as a solution and equivalent products for the last 2 years. So we've been well on that journey for a long time, and this principal reason why we've been doing that is because the inefficiencies are there around. We had lots of mobile estimators going out with delays in that process, a lot of inefficiencies that came out of it as well. And we recognised that it was a far better way of us establishing contact quickly with the customer and getting a first view as to what the damage was actually on the vehicle. So since about November 18, we've been on board with it, and it's fair to say it's accelerated through the COVID period as well.
Okay. And has using our Bodyshop Image Capture product had any sort of influence on your key-to-key times or your claim capture rates?
Well, it has an impact on a number of different areas. First off, our claim capture rates and cancellations have improved as a result of it, because you're making a very early contact and connection with that customer as a body shop rather than just the insurer or the claims handlers. The second piece as well is obviously by having some visibility of the type of damage, rather than someone saying down the phone, or it's this or it's that. We've also got direct visibility of it. And we get about just under 10 images per job. So we've got a pretty good view of the vehicle. We're clearly not asking customers to lift bonnets or crawl around on the floor or look under wheel arches, but we're just getting a flavour of what the damage actually is. So one is that can potentially allow us to send the car direct to salvage and then straight bypass us, which is obviously good news for us. Keeps the site clear of vehicles we're not going to be working on. And the second thing is we do see a natural benefit from the customers in terms of their automatic engagement with us as a part of the journey. They won't typically have had any experience of us before. Then we're going out giving them software that they can then use to obviously establish what the repair looks like. From that, obviously, we can then order parts, and therefore we don't get parts into the business. We don't get the cars coming into the business until we've got parts on site. So the vehicle isn't being handed over to us ahead of us actually needing and requiring it or being able to work on it. So that naturally reduces the key-to-key, but also reduces the cycle time, and that naturally takes cost and inefficiency out of the chain as well.
Okay, great. And one of the key metrics we look at is the response rate. And I mentioned on the previous slide that we're getting about 75% return rate. One thing that really stuck out to me when I was looking at it on a customer by customer basis is that you guys are almost touching 90%. So you're getting 9 out of every 10 requests returned from customers. What is the secret that you've got to getting such a high return rate?
Imagine let's give my secrets to them. We have a central ethanol team who engage directly with the client, and they walk them through the process of what our expectations and what we need them to do. So they're introducing them to, rather than just something automatically just being sent out. So first off, it's a soft introduction to the customer. You then obviously express the benefits that it'll bring to them in terms of us won't need the car any longer than we need to have it in for, rather than just dropping the car off and leaving it with us for weeks on end. This allows us to improve the journey that they're going to go through. So by explaining some of the benefits to them, rather than just saying this is going to benefit us, the customers automatically engage with that journey. When we first started out doing it a couple of years ago, we kind of targeted, 50 or 60% was the sort of numbers we were being quoted at the time. But in fairness, we were into 80% literally from the get-go, and we've remained consistently through the 80s, late 80s, and into 90s at certain times as well. And obviously, COVID and the lockdown has also helped to increase the use of the system as well and reinforce the use of the system, because one is obviously the policyholder hasn't been keen to bring their vehicle on site because obviously they've been wanting to naturally practice social distancing. They're not sure what they're going to be faced with when they get to a repairer. And the second bit as well, obviously they don't want our estimators and VDA teams going out to their vehicles either for the same reasons. So actually that piece of the non-contact is something that the public have clearly embraced. Whilst it hasn't necessarily been a needle mover for us, it definitely will have enhanced the proposition of the service and just reinforced the benefits that the product brings.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. And what have you ever had any direct customer feedback around the image capture product and what they think of?
Well, I'm a great believer. I mean, the feedback is in 9 out of 10 cats, so they prefer it. We get 9 out of 10 people using the system. I mean, at the end of the day, software is developed for a reason, and sometimes software isn't fit for purpose. The biggest benefit we see from it is clearly something the customers see as well, hence why they're using it. So the direct feedback I get is that clearly they're happy to use it because ultimately we're getting 9 out of 10 people actually going ahead and even the people that don't use it, it's not necessarily because of the software, it's for a variety of other reasons. So we're obviously delighted with 9 out of 10, and that's the biggest measurement and the best measurement that we can possibly have. So it doesn't matter what I think about it, it doesn't matter what you think about it or the industry does. Ultimately, the policyholder, the person taking the images, is obviously feels that the software is intuitive enough for them to be able to go out, take images of the vehicle, 10, as I said, typically 9.5, 10 is typically what we get. And obviously that then comes in, which allows us a platform to build an estimate from. It's not totally comprehensive because obviously it's stuff you can't see from the first start, but it does give us some idea of the type of damage that we've got. It can get us an early view on parts ordering, and it can start to basically make some improvements in efficiencies in the chain, which is obviously what we're all driving to do, to take cost out for all stakeholders.
Okay. And your team, I guess, predominantly your customer service staff and your VDAs, what do they think about the product?
Well, from their perspective, obviously one or two of them we are mobile estimators before. They're now seeing an increased efficiency in terms of their own output, not least which because they are not having to go in and do or go out and do estimates on site. It also means that they obviously can practice social distancing themselves as well. So their efficiency have improved. They're obviously meeting the requirements of the government and the law and the lockdown restrictions we are placing us at the minute. And they're obviously seeing a benefit in terms of the fact they can get ahead of the game in terms of building some overview of the estimate before we've even seen the vehicle on site.
Okay, great. And finally, do you think you'll continue to use an image capture product sort of in the post-COVID world? Do you think it's kind of here to stay? It's part of your
100%. End of the day, it seamlessly integrates into the Audatex system, which is one of the key benefits as well of the program, which obviously brings an upside for us, and obviously improves the efficiency of the software process and the whole journey that we're all on. So we will continue to use it, and also as well in the wider piece, hopefully with this sort of product and the increased use of AI as we move forward into the next generation of estimating systems. The imaging is going to be a key part of that. So I only see actually us increasing the use of it, if you can, above the numbers we're already at, but increasing the use of it rather than decreasing or lessening it. So it's definitely going to assist and aid that journey as well, which is obviously clearly the next big technology change.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for coming on today and for being so open and honest with your answers to my questions. We'll move straight into the demo now, but thank you. I'll hand now over to my colleague Stephen, who will give the demonstration. Good morning, Stephen.
Good morning, Tom. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning, Stephen. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Very interesting, Richard. So, really enjoyed listening to that. Great to hear you getting such a good benefit from the software. So I'd like to run through and show the folk that haven't seen it before how the product actually works. So the image capture portal, we'll talk about setting the system up in just a moment, but just I want to talk about the bones of how the system is. It's a portal that you can log into and you can send image requests out to your customers. So the customer will receive a text to their phone and it will guide them around their vehicle. It will enable the customer to take really good images of their vehicle. And those images will come back directly to the business. You'll get an email and the images will also be glued to the appropriate Audatex assessment. If there is no Audatex assessment, you can log back into the portal and you can view and download those images. So I'll cover all of those steps in the next few minutes. So setting up the system is very, very straightforward. Once you've logged onto the Audatex website, which we'll show you in a few minutes, and sent in your details, you'll receive an email from us. And on that email, there'll be a single-use password. Now, what I recommend you do is you copy that password and then click on the link above it, which will take you through to the next screen. Type in your email address and then paste in that single-use password and then hit sign in. And it will take you through to this next screen. So what I recommend that you do here is that you save the link at the top of that screen onto your desktop. That will then generate an icon on your desktop, which you can click on when you want to send out an image request. So we've got the blue button there to send out the image request. If we click onto that, we've just got 3 bits of information to enter before we can send that text to the customer. So I recommend that you start at the top, typing in the customer's name. If you get the capitalization correct, because that will appear on the customer's phone as you type it in here. the mobile number without any spaces, and then the registration number of the vehicle. So best case scenario, we hit find assessment. If there is already an assessment within Outer Enterprise Gold, you'll see the assessment number and your unique code. You'll hit the send button and your customer will receive a text. Now, we could have the scenario whereby there is an Audatex assessment in your business, but it hasn't been touched for 30 days. So if that is the case, you'll hit the find assessment button and you'll get this red text come up to say that we couldn't find that assessment. So if that happens, all you'd need to do is enter Outer Enterprise Gold, find the assessment, enter the assessment, and then exit and save the changes. That will, as it were, wake the assessment up, revisit Image Capture Portal and retrace your steps. When you hit that find assessment button, it will work. Now, it could also be that there's more than one assessment in your business of that registration number. So it could be that a work provider has sent you in an assessment shell. You could have also created an assessment yourself within the business, or there might be an old claim within the business. So if there is more than one assessment, you'll see that little drop down. So you can click on that and you can see all of the assessments available to you. Highlight the relevant assessment, the assessment that you would like the images to be attached to, and then hit the send button at the bottom of the screen. But normally you'll just have one assessment. It will be very, very straightforward. So we're going back to my first example now, where I've put the name in, the phone number in, and the registration number, and I'd hit send. So you'll see the green banner flash up at the top of the screen showing that that text has been sent out. And it's very, very straightforward. If a customer rings you and you think that they'd be an ideal candidate for image capture, but you know that there is no assessment in Outer Enterprise Gold, all you'd need to do is create a basic shell. And by that, I mean creating a new assessment, entering the registration number only, and exiting and saving the changes. Then visit the Image Capture Portal and send out the image request, and those images will be glued to the assessment. So the text message is gone. So now let's look at what your customer sees. So they'll receive the text message, and at the top of the text message, your body shop can be the sender. So SMS text messages will allow a sender of up to 11 characters long. So when you set up, when you send in your information to set the system up, if you give us the name that you'd like to appear, a maximum of 11 characters, that's what your customer will see. So you can tell them to expect the text message and expect your name to be on it. So the customer's name will be in the body of the text that they receive and their registration number. And there's a blue link that they'll click on at the bottom of that message that will take them through to the image capture screen. So there's no software to download. There's no app. This is in fact taking them to the Outer Target website. And again, in the initial setup of the system, if you send us your Bodyshop logo in .png format, it will appear at the top of every screen within Image Capture. So it's customized to your business. So Start Image Capture button is what they'll need to touch on at the bottom of the screen. Now, you might be sending this out to someone that maybe has a fleet of damaged vehicles. So we do remind them of the registration number again, because we want these images to be glued onto the correct assessment. And the system will take the customer around to obtain corner shots of their vehicle. So it shows them how to hold their phone. So in landscape mode, on its side, you're going to get much better pictures if they do that. And then we've got the little camera icon at the bottom of the screen. Now, there's normal functionality here. When we touch on the camera, they will be asked, do they want to take a fresh picture or perhaps take a user picture from their gallery. So once I've taken my picture or selected one from my gallery, I press the Use Photo button. I then see, I can put it back into perspective about the image that I was asked for to make sure that I've captured the right information. And then I would hit the Next button. So that will take me round all 4 corner shots. We're not going to do all 4 of those this morning. I'm sure you get the idea. And once I've taken those mandatory corner shots, it will then take me into the vehicle and prompt me to take a picture of the mileage. And once I've taken the mileage, it will help me find the VIN number on the vehicle. So it'll show me where that VIN number should be situated on my vehicle. So I can image that. So once those key images have been taken that you'll need and your work provider will need, then it prompts the customer to take as many pictures as they like, and again with their phone in landscape mode, of the damage to the vehicle. So they can take as many pictures as they want at this stage. So hopefully you can see bottom left-hand side corner of these images, there's a little pencil. So the customer can touch onto that pencil and they can add comments. And these comments are visible back in the image capture portal if we log back in to look and see the images that we've received. So once I've been right around my vehicle, taken the sort of the mandatory images and the images of the damage, I can review them. I could go back and replace, if I wasn't happy with an image or two, I could go back and replace them. Typically, your customer will just press the submit button. A message will flash up saying thanks very much for sending the images in. And at that moment, an email will come back into your body shop. So the email will come back into whoever you've told us needs to receive the email. It might be that just one person, it might be that 10 people in your business need to see need to receive that email. So the registration number of the vehicle is in the subject line, and then you can click on the link below, which will take you through to view the images. However, the images will be glued directly to the Audatex assessment. So it might be that your VDA receives the email, they know they can now log into Audatex, the images will be there, and they can start building that assessment. So if there is no Audatex assessment on that vehicle, you can log back into the image capture portal, click on claim search, and you can find those images. So 2 common ways, the most popular ways of looking for the images is either by date range or by registration number of the vehicle. So if we click on the little calendar on date range, we then see for that period the request that I've sent out, and bottom left hand side I can see the registration number and the date, and over on the right hand side I can see the amount of images that have come back in on that vehicle. So when I click onto that vehicle, I can see that I've got 9 images. If I click on the tab at the top of the screen, I click onto the tab, I can then view all those images. And if you can see the bottom of the, just underneath the trim there at the bottom of the wing and the door, I can see any notes that the customer has made about that particular image. So also within the portal, there's another button here called Download Images at the top of the screen. So if I'd like to manually attach those images to an Audatex assessment because there wasn't one when I sent the request out, I can click on to Download Images, select the image format, and the images are then there, and I could save them into a folder and then attach them directly to our Enterprise Gold. So hopefully I've covered most things. Hopefully you've sent in some questions as well. Tom, questions from the floor, please. Anything I've haven't covered?
Yeah, well, firstly, thanks for doing that, Stephen. I couldn't, because you were controlling the screen, I couldn't look at the Q&A. I've just jumped in and we've just got one so far, but everybody's welcome to ask additional ones. It's from Michael Walker. Good morning, Michael. He's asking, do we have any issues with clients' image quality? I guess, Richard, firstly, could I ask that of you, please?
To be honest with you, over the last couple of years in particular, iPhone and camera technology is so much better than it ever was before, that even the most basic cameras, so basic phones, our cameras that you can make phone calls with, even those basic phones have really good quality, and we genuinely don't have a problem coming in. If we do anything particular that comes up, obviously we might ask the client to go back out and take another picture or two, but in the majority we can get exactly what we need the first time, because the software is very, very intuitive.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, a couple more now. One's asking, is there a workflow where we can use image capture in conjunction with Audatex Plus, or is it just with Auda Enterprise Gold?
To my knowledge, it's just with Auda Enterprise Gold, but I will happily look into that for you and get back to you, Tom, if you can find out who's sent that question in.
Yeah, sure. I'll pass that directly on to you, and you can find that out. Is there a way to see who hasn't responded to the text?
Yes, just by logging into the portal, you'll see, as I did at the final steps there were 9 images attached to that particular registration number. I log into the portal, set a date range, I could see if there are any registration numbers with 0 images to the right of them. So yes, it shows the image number, hence, if no images have been sent in, it would say 0 there.
Okay. Do we specify engine running for the image of the mileage?
No, we prompt them with a picture of the dashboard. I mean, some vehicles you need the door open to get the mileage. So no, we just, and I think we're getting good results in. I mean, Richard, do most people send in the mileage okay?
Yeah, again, no problem at all. It's clearly specified there. That's what we require, and we get the information. Yeah, from our perspective, it's not, if they don't, it's not a showstopper. It's not going to fundamentally change the process and the journey that we're on with them. So if they haven't recorded it, we can get it when they come in. But in the main, they do exactly as they're asked. So hence why we have such consistency around the amount of images we actually get back.
Okay. Could I ask this one of you as well, Richard? Do you find that the customer follows the process on screen with regard to taking the images?
Yeah. Again, it is intuitive, and therefore they don't have to be to be some sort of techie type person to understand. And people said before, well, maybe people who are slightly older might be more worried or concerned about the use of it. We don't see it. We don't see that as being a problem. Hence why 9 out of 10 people do send us images in, and in the vast majority of those cases, we are able to create an estimate platform out the back of it.
Okay. Stephen, is there a cost per image or an overall cost?
Investment, I think, Tom, is the word. It's just £2 per request that you send out. Okay. Unlimited images on that request. And the customer will also receive, if they don't send in any images in after 24 hours, a second text will go out to them at no extra cost.
Okay. A question here from a new customer who's new to using the Gold software. Is the option in the Gold software so it can be set up?
No, so you need to go onto the Audatex website, which I think you're going to come to, Tom, in just a second, to set up image capture.
So it's a separate portal, but it does integrate directly
Absolutely
with the customer's Auda Enterprise Gold software automatically, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Can the imaging system be accessed numerous times, or is it a once only?
Tom, a quick one.
Sorry.
The question there I thought was, will it be available with a video capability?
Okay.
I don't think it was actually sending a video out of this.
Sorry. Okay.
I think the guy was asking whether it was video on the actual product.
Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, you're correct. Stephen, do you know if there are any plans to introduce video?
it's I think it's in process, but it's not going to be around for a while. So yeah, not at the moment.
So just returning to that next question, can the imaging system be accessed numerous times by the customer, or is it a once only?
I think they have a 1 week period, so they can access at any point in that week after the text has been sent out.
Do the images auto upload onto the customer's management system?
No, they go directly to our Enterprise Gold and to the portal.
Once the link has been used, can a customer go back to the original link if they want additional images or better images, or do they have to send a second request?
A second request should need to go out to the customer if they've submitted images already. But remember, before they hit the submit button, they've got that time to review the images so they can make sure that the quality is good.
Richard, what levels of supplementary estimates do you see with the assessments once they're on site? Has it improved your process regarding that?
It has, because I think our VDA team have become more familiar with treating things from an image rather than looking at the physical vehicle, which is what they're historically done for the earlier part of their careers. So they've definitely improved in terms of what they've done. Obviously, every job is individual. So from that perspective, I would say our level of SUPs have actually improved and got better, but be very clear, it isn't still as good as physically getting the car and doing the estimate on site, and it never will be, because obviously we're not asking the customers to go out and lift bonnets up or get in and around the vehicle or the repairs. So until you physically get it in, you're not actually ever going to know. So on the more superficial damage and the more cosmetic damage, which doesn't have anything structural impact, clearly there's no need for SUPs, and so in most cases it gets sorted in the first go. But obviously where there's further damage, obviously, which we can't see, or drop a bumper and we can see something behind it, that'll clearly generate extra supplementary estimates.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, is there a charge to the customer, or is it just to the body shop?
There's zero cost to the customer, just to the body shop. Okay. And again, no app to download. So. And it takes minimal data as well when they send the images in.
Just a couple more now. I know we're running a little short on time. We will pick up any questions that we haven't answered separately over email, but I think we've covered most of the main ones, just a couple that we've answered earlier. Is there anything currently to prompt clients to image tyre measurements if a tyre is damaged?
Not at the moment. But yeah, it could be that we could reconfigure the system and add additional things in if there's customer requests. So, it's not set in stone. We could potentially have an additional screen for you if enough people request it. Okay. Is that something that you need, Richard? Tyres? Do you need to see the tyres before the vehicle arrives?
It may be nice to have, but again, you earn that balance for sort of saying, if you suddenly start requesting 20 images off a customer and they're out there, all of a sudden you start to see a less. I mean, it might be at least another 4 as an absolute minimum. Clearly, they don't look at a spare or anything, but if you add another 4 automatically, does the tyre change the basic repair process we're going through? No, it doesn't. If we have to order a tyre when it comes in, we can order that and get it same day or next day at worst. So for us, I would rather ensure we get the customers wanting to respond to the request by keeping the images to a set amount, rather than saying, can you take 20, 25 images, which they're just simply not going to do. Customers are going to switch off, and then we're going to see the acceptance rate lessen quickly.
Are customers told that an exact estimate can't be given until you see the actual vehicle and do a physical inspection?
Yeah, I think people are very understanding about the process. They also understand as well. I mean, whilst they don't necessarily know that, we obviously haven't seen the vehicle, but they don't actually know what other damage is actually behind it. So you kind of put a fail-safe around that by saying, clearly, this is going to give us an early view in terms of what the damage is, so we can assess the best journey for your vehicle to go on. Once we can establish that, we can make sure it's the least disruption, minimum key-to-key time for you, so lessens the time that you're without your vehicle. And customers are very accepting. They're very accepting of that. And they seem to understand the process we're under. And obviously, once we get the vehicle in and then we inspect it and we see any additional damage, obviously, apart from recording that on the estimate, obviously informing our clients, and the insurer or accident manager, obviously we're ensuring the customer, the driver of the vehicle at the same time as well, saying, by the way, now we've had the vehicle in, we've had a look at it, and we found this additional damage. As a result, we've informed the insurance company, and obviously that's been authorised as part of the repair process. So you just make that as part of the round, really, and they seem okay with that. It's good. It's like most things, it's good communication both ways. the imaging's good communication, and equally so us replying to the customer is equally so keeping them informed of the journey they're on.
Okay, great. Thank you. And I'll just ask one last one of you, Stephen. Somebody's asked if the customer doesn't respond within a set time period, do they get any reminders?
Yeah, mentioned it a few moments ago. If they don't respond, they get a second text after 24 hours. And you can actually say to us that you might like that to be 48 hours instead of 24 hours. I mean, you showed on your stats earlier, Tom, most people are sending the images in within 24 hours. I think a lot of them come in within just a couple of hours because people are keen to be part of the process and keen to get their car repaired.
Great, thank you. Well, thanks to everybody today for joining us for this webinar, and particularly thanks to Richard for giving up his time to share his experiences and strategies with us, and also to Stephen for giving us a demonstration. It really is hugely appreciated. If you aren't already signed up for image capture, it's a really simple process. You just need to visit the Audatex website, audatex.co.uk. Click on solutions and you'll find the image capture section there where you can sign up, and we will set you up within a 24-hour time frame. If you are already signed up to image capture but you've forgotten your login details, you can contact our service desk via email, which is servicedesk@audatex.co.uk. Thank you once again for giving up some time this morning to be with us. Really appreciate that, and we wish you all the best as we head into the winter months, and hope to catch up with you all again soon. Thanks very much, and goodbye.